One of the most common questions I get is if you should upgrade your Xbox. Today, we're going to dive in. What's up, everybody? One of the most common questions that I get is if you should upgrade your Xbox from an Xbox One S to an Xbox One X. Well, we're going to dive into this and we're going to take it back a step because I think this can appeal to a broader audience here. So let's just talk about if you're buying an Xbox brand new. Which one should you buy? Well, if you're entering the Xbox One family for the first time, it's going to come down to what resolution you are running at. If you are running at 4K, go grab the Xbox One X. You are going to be really happy with it and just stop watching this video. If you are coming into it with a 1080p display, you might not want to buy the X. I actually think that if you're 1080p gaming, I think you should honestly buy the Xbox One S for about $249. You can find it cheaper if you look in the right corners of the web or even Costco sometimes. And think about buying the Xbox One S with an SSD external drive and maybe even an Elite controller as well for about the same price as you would pay all in on the Xbox One X. It might be a little bit more, but think about that option because that might actually give you a better gaming experience, especially because that Elite controller is really nice. Just know that there's a little minor issue of some of the rubber coming off and you have to re-glue it after a couple years. But think about that. Primarily, here's what you need to know. If you're gaming at 4K, buy the X, you'll be happy, move on with life. If you're 1080p gaming, grab the S, maybe a few peripherals, and you'll be happy. But the bigger question here, and what most people are asking, saying, Brad, should I upgrade my Xbox to an Xbox One X? Well, again, I think this is a really fine-tuned question depending on how you play and when and where you play. So if you have an OG Xbox, should you go from an OG Xbox to an S? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it. Personally, I just really don't. Unless your console's dying and you just want to keep gaming at the lowest possible price, then yes, grab that S. But going from OG to S, not as big of a deal. You might think about upgrading the hard drive. That might give you better performance boost and save you a little bit of cash. But the bigger jump and bigger question most people are considering is if they have an S and should they go to an X? Well, here's what you need to kind of think about. Again, if you're on 1080p, I don't think it's worth going to the X to stay on 1080p. I really don't. The performance is already good. That's why I swapped these consoles out back here, as I was testing it on that display back there. And candidly, it's fine. It really is. It's not as good as the X. Don't get me wrong. The X is better. But I don't know if it's a couple $100 better. I really don't. That's harder to justify. But here's where you should be thinking about it. If you're holding off on upgrading from the S to the X because you're like, oh, Anaconda, Scarlet, Lockhart, and all those things, they're coming. They're coming. Well, we know that Microsoft historically launches consoles in October and October-November timeframe, I should say. So from today, which is February 18th to November 1st of 2020, when I expect the consoles roughly to be available, there are 622 gaming days available. Now, if you're a casual gamer and you're not going to be gaming all that much, you just game for an hour or two on Saturday or Sunday, keep the S. It's not worth the X. But if you're a form of relaxation and you game a couple hours every day, grab the X. You guys, it's not worth holding back waiting for the next gen console when you've got 620 plus days of great gaming ahead of you. You will enjoy the benefits, especially if you're on 4K, especially. Even on 1080p, you will get improved frame rates and everything else. But if you are gaming on 4K and you've been holding off because you have an S and you've been waiting for Lockhart and Anaconda, go grab that X. You'll be very, very happy with it, especially if you're gaming a lot. And talking of pricing, by the way, the Fallout bundle of the Xbox One X is $399 right now because the game isn't that good. So to pay $400 to upgrade, and granted, you could sell off your Xbox One X. I bet you could probably get about $100 for it. I bet you could. So you're looking $399 retail, so $299 to upgrade. I personally think it's worth it if you're a heavy Xbox gamer to upgrade. I really, really do. It's when you start looking at how many hours you put in and the fact that there are 620 plus days available of gaming time before that comes out. And here's the thing to consider too. Microsoft has made a really big deal about backwards compatibility. They've been talking about this. They've been talking about Game Pass and all that stuff. You already get 4K gaming with I was going to point to the Xbox One X back here. But more importantly, I fully expect, now I can't explicitly confirm on every level of detail, that Microsoft will support backwards compatibility with the next generation console. So if that holds true, and you have an X, you're already getting 4K gaming. You're already getting that. And the games that come out for the next gen should work on your console, at least around the launch. So you're going to get more than 620 games, because think about it from a publisher perspective. We'll use Call of Duty as an example. Call of Duty, let's say there's a launch title that comes out in December or November or whatever of 2020. It's going to work on all consoles. It's going to work on the new stuff. It's going to work on the current stuff. So it's not like on November of 2020, your Xbox One X is completely just useless. So what you could do is use your X to spread the gap between you need to buy that, because we know that buying consoles at launch is expensive and they're going to wear out earlier. Just typically Gen 1 stuff just doesn't last as long as some of the revisions. So to break it down, should you buy an Xbox One X now? If you're a heavy gamer, yes. If you're a casual gamer, think about your resolution. And if you're coming into the family, it only matters on your resolution. Again, this is all saying that money matters and that you don't have an unlimited supply of funds. But in my opinion, the Xbox One X is still a good console to buy. I would not recommend anybody waiting until the next gen, because again, 620 plus days of gaming ahead that you could be having more fun at a higher resolution with a better frame rate. There's your questions answered. Hope that helps.